All right, so we are going to start Asteroid Section 4. Now, the last two are very quick, easy ones. This one's going to be a little bit of a longer one, and this one does have some of the more complicated code. So you might have to take a break here and there, maybe pause, rewatch, this and that. But essentially what we're going to be doing in this one is we're going to make it so that when we shoot the asteroids, they're actually going to shrink down and break into smaller asteroids, which takes quite a bit of code to do. So that's mainly what we're going to be focusing on here is just getting those asteroids to shrink down. So we're primarily going to be just on our event sheet for this one and programming some events in, okay? The first thing we need to do though is we are going to put an instance variable on our asteroid. You could do that from the layout here, or you could do it from the side. So let's say we're on our event sheet, right? And you want to do like a behavior or an instance variable. If you click it from the side, you can still do it from over here. So if I just single click the asteroid over here on the right, I'm going to go over here and add an instance variable. Okay, and I'm going to add an instance variable called size. Whoops, size. And it's going to be a number and it's going to equal 1 to start. Okay, so you see that size instance variable appeared there on the left side. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our asteroid handling group. We're going to be doing a lot in here. So right now we have asteroid on collision with bullet. It just says asteroid destroy. We don't want that to happen now. Now we want the asteroid to shrink and get smaller. So we're going to get rid of this asteroid destroy because we don't want it to get destroyed. But we do want the bullet to get destroyed. So I'm going to add an action for the bullet. And I'm going to have the bullet get destroyed. So I'm going to do bullet destroy. Okay. So asteroid on collision with bullet, we're going to have just the bullet destroy right now. Okay. Then what I'm going to do on here, and it's going to seem confusing at first, but well, I'll explain it. You're going to right click on this green arrow here, and we're going to add, and we're going to actually just add a blank sub-event, okay? And what it means is I want some stuff sub-evented here, but I don't necessarily need another condition, but I do want it contained within this asteroid on collision with bullet. So there are times that you might have sub-events with blank conditions on them, and this is going to be one instance of that, okay? Then what I'm going to do is on this blank sub-event, I need to add 3 different local variables. So I'm going to right click on this sub-event, I'm going to add, and I'm going to do a local variable. So a local variable is the same as a global variable. The only difference is the variable can only be used within the scope of this sub-event that we're creating all this in. So you can't access it from anywhere, okay? And this variable, we're going to call it current UID. And I'm going to explain what UIDs are in just a minute here. Like I said, we're going to have some more complicated stuff here. And if you don't, even after I explain it, you might not fully understand, but if you get the gist of what we're trying to do, at least to understand the purpose of it, even if you don't fully understand how it's happening, that sometimes is okay with this complicated stuff, okay? So we're going to have current UID, it can just equal 0, okay? I'm going to right click on the blank sub event again. We're going to add another local variable. This one's going to be called current AOM. Okay, and then we can leave that at 0 and click OK. And I'm going to add another local variable. So right click on the blank sub event again. Let's add another local variable. And this one's going to be called current size. Okay, and then that one also can equal 0. The current size, though, we're going to put that below the blank sub-event. So just grab it and drag it, and it should look like this. So look at your code carefully and make sure it looks like this. So let me explain what these mean and what we're going to be using them for. So the reason why this gets so complicated, one thing that makes this complicated is there's going to be multiple asteroids on the screen. Okay, and when we shoot, if we just try to program it in general to make the asteroids split and get smaller when we shoot them, what's going to happen is if you shoot one asteroid, all the asteroids on the screen are going to split and get smaller. So that's where current UID comes in. UID stands for unique identifier. Okay, so if I just go to my layout quick, if I highlight this asteroid here, okay, it has a UID. And it should be over here somewhere. Oh yeah, it's at the top usually. Let me see. Oh, right here. Right here it says UID 4. Okay. Every time an object is spawned, every object is assigned a UID, a unique identifier, and it's just going to be a number, and it's going to change every time. So one time I load the game, this asteroid's UID might be 4, another time it might be 7, it might be 12. It just depends on what other object's on the screen, because every object has a UID. Spaceship's UID is 2. Bullet's UID is 5, but no two objects will ever have the same UID, unique identifier. So basically what this current UID variable is when we shoot an asteroid, we are going to load its UID number into this so that we know what it is. So if I shoot an asteroid and its UID is 5, we're going to make this variable turn to 5 so that we know what asteroid we're shooting. And basically what we're going to use that for is to make it so that only that asteroid splits and gets smaller, not all of them on the screen. So we're going to make it happen to just that UID, okay? Current AOM stands for angle of motion. So the other thing is when that asteroid splits in the small ones, we want the angle to be based off of the angle the original one was flying at. So we need this variable so that we can tell what angle was the original asteroid moving at, and then we can use that to determine the angle of the new asteroids, okay? The current size variable, and the reason why we made the size instance variable on the asteroid, is so that we know how big it is. Because when we shoot that big asteroid, it's going to go into smaller ones, and then we shoot it again and it gets smaller again. So that size variable is going to track how big the asteroid is, because once it gets to a certain size, we want it to get destroyed. We want it to stop splitting. So if we're not tracking the size, the asteroids are going to keep splitting forever, which we don't want to do. Okay, so that's what these variables are going to be used for. So if you sounded, if you're a little confused by what I just said, that's fine. Just understand that we need these basically to pick the right asteroid, to pick the right angle after it gets destroyed, and to tell what size it is. That's basically what it's for. So if you understand that much, you're good. If you don't fully understand the UID part yet, that's fine. Don't worry about that. Okay. All right. So on the blank event, we are going to add some actions to that now. So go ahead and add an action to the blank event. And we're going to set the value of the UID. So we're going to do system set value, which is right here. We're going to set the value of current UID. Now on this dropdown, if you don't see current UID, it means you're not making it in the right spot or your local variables are in the wrong spot. Because we are in the scope, this sub-event where we made the local variables, this is accessible. If I tried changing the value in a different group, these won't pop up as options because they're not global variables. They can't be used anywhere, okay? So if you did it right, though, you should see current UID here, okay? We're going to set the current UID to asteroid.uid, okay? So this is the part where the asteroid hits the bullet. It's going to take this UID variable and set it to the UID of the asteroid. So if I shoot asteroid number 5, this event takes that number 5 and plugs it into current UID. That's what this does. Okay. We're also going to get the angle of motion right here. So I'm going to add an action, and we're going to do system set value. We're going to set the value of current AOM, current angle of motion, and we're going to find the asteroid's angle of motion. So to track the asteroid's angle of motion, we type in asteroid, click on the option, dot, and we have to type in bullet because angle of motion is from the bullet behavior. So we have to do dot bullet, and then we have to do dot angle of motion. Okay, if you just try to do asteroid dot angle of motion, it won't work. It has to be asteroid dot bullet dot angle of motion. Okay, so let's say the asteroid's UID is 4 and its angle is 180. So we shoot the asteroid, it sets UID to 4 and it sets angle of motion to 180. That's basically what this is doing for the one individual asteroid that just got shot. That's what this is doing. Okay. All right. Then what we're going to do is we have to do some stuff with the size. So we are going to add a sub event on the asteroid on collision with bullet event. So find the green arrow right here where my cursor is. We're going to right click that. And now we're going to do stuff with the size of the asteroid. So I'm going to add a sub event. Where is my sub event? Right here. Okay, so I'm going to add a sub event. We're going to go to asteroid and we're going to compare instance variable. So I'm just going to type in maybe variable. Okay, and we want to know if the size is less than or equal to 2.5. Whoops, 2.5. There we go. Okay. And basically what it is the size is going to start at 1. because you can see here for the instance variable for size, it starts at 1, okay? Essentially what we're going to do is every time you shoot the asteroid, its size variable is going to increase. So it's funny because as the asteroid gets smaller, we're actually increasing the size variable. So that part I know can seem confusing, but basically just understand this. We shoot the asteroid, the size is 1 when it's the largest, okay? And then we add to that size variable and it becomes bigger. So I guess that part does make sense. And then if that size becomes greater than 2.5, then it stops working from this part here. So let's get some more of this in and it will make sense. So the first action we're going to do is we're going to increase its size by 0.5. So I'm going to add an action. We are going to do system set value, and we're going to set the value of this current size variable, and we're going to change it to asteroid.size, asteroid.size, and then we're going to do plus 0.5. Okay, so we're going to take this current size variable that we created, and it's going to become asteroid.size plus 0.5. So if we shoot the asteroid the first time, its size is 1, right? Then it's going to take this current size value and it's going to set it to 1.5 because it's going to take the 1 and add 0.5 to it. Okay, so that's what that part's doing. Okay, then what we need to do is if this part is true, basically, so if we shoot the asteroid and its size is less than 2.5, we want it to split and spawn new asteroids. So to do that, we're going to make a sub event on this size 2.5 event right here. So you're going to right click and you're going to add a sub event. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to do a repeat event. So we're going to make it so it spawns 2 asteroids each time you shoot one. So we're going to do system repeat, and we're going to tell it to repeat twice. Okay. Then what we're going to do is on this repeat, we want to have a bunch of asteroid spawning code here. So what we're going to do is we already have asteroid spawn code in our wave system. So if we open our wave system, we basically want to take this asteroid spawn code and move it up here, but we want to copy it. We still want to keep it here, but we want it here as well. Now, before we copy this up, I think we need to add a couple more actions down here now that we've added some variables, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add an action here, and we're going to do asteroid, and we're going to do set value, or no, we're going to set size. So we're going to set the physical size of the asteroid. So when you do set size right here under size and position, this is going to change the physical size of the asteroid. And we're going to make it 96 by 96. So 96 by 96 pixels is how big we want a brand new asteroid to be. Okay, then we're going to add another action here. And we're going to do asteroid, and we're going to set the size variable. So set value. We did asteroid, set value. We're going to do the size instance variable to 1. So this basically here is for this repeat wave times, this is spawning a brand new fresh asteroid. So we just want to make sure at the bottom that it's got the largest size, physical size, which is 96 by 96. And then we want the size variable to be 1. So these are basically the stats of a brand new fat asteroid that's being spawned right away. So that's why those two are there. Okay. Now, once you put those two in, we're going to hold control and we're going to highlight every piece of code in here. Okay, this is all the create asteroid code. Now this time we want to copy it, not move it. So this time you are going to keep holding control. So hold control, drag the whole thing up to this repeat 2 times, just like this. And then when you let go, it's going to pop up. If you did it correctly, you should see it here, and it should still be down here. Okay? If you did that correctly, minimize your wave system because you're done with that. That part's good. Now we're going to edit a few of these because these now, this asteroid spawn code, these aren't fresh new asteroids. These are the mini asteroids that pop out. So we want to do some things different to these ones. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're all good here. All right, so here when we create the asteroid, we actually want it to spawn from the previous asteroid. We don't want it to be at a random window width. We don't want it to be off screen, right? So we're going to edit this one. So double click this. We're on the repeat 2 times. double click the top event here, okay? And the only thing we're going to change here is for the x coordinate, we're going to just make it asteroid.x. And for the y coordinate, we're just going to type asteroid.y. So what that means is the new asteroid is going to spawn at the x and y position of the asteroid you just shot. That's what this part does, okay? Then we're going to change the angle of motion. So now the little asteroids that pop off, we don't want them all flying at the spaceship. That's what the old code did, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to base it off of the current angle of motion of the previous asteroid, and then we're going to randomize it a little bit. So we're going to double click. Now this one's going to seem really complex, but just bear with me. I'm going to type in int to make it an integer. Type 2 left parentheses. Then we're going to type in current AOM, which is that variable we made. Then we're going to do plus. And then we're going to do random. And then we're going to do a left parentheses again, and we're going to do 125. And then we're going to do 2 right parentheses. And we're going to do a percent sign. And then we're going to type 180. And then at the end, you're going to do 1 more right parenthesis. So it's going to look like this. I'll leave it up there for a second. That's what you want. Now, this can seem like ridiculously confusing, right? But I'll break it down for you. So basically, the new asteroid is going to pop up, right? And it's going to take its angle of motion, and it's going to look at the current angle of motion of the big asteroid you just shot, okay? Then what it's going to do is it's going to add a random amount of angles. So something between 0 and 124. That's what this means. Random 125 means a number between 0 and 124. It's basically taking 125 numbers, but a computer starts counting at 0 instead of 1. So it does 0 to 124, okay? So if the current angle of motion plus this random number is less than 180 degrees, it's just going to set it to that angle. If this angle is greater than 180, let's say it's like 220, the percent sign means it's going to divide it by 180 and take the remainder, and then that's going to become the angle of motion. So I don't really expect you to understand completely all this. Just know that it's randomizing the angle of the new asteroids, and it's based on the angle of the asteroid you just shot. That's all you need to know, okay? So I know that part seemed a little bit confusing there. All right. So then we're going to go down to this asteroid set size. And basically now, instead of, so 96 by 96 is the big asteroid, right? But this now is the code for the littler asteroids coming out. So we're going to take this 96 and we're going to divide it. So you're going to type this divide symbol here, and we're going to divide it by current size. We're going to do that here, divide by current size. Okay. So whatever the current size variable is, it's going to take 96 and divide it by that. And this is physically going to make the asteroid smaller, okay? Then what we do down here at the bottom is we're going to set the size variable on the asteroid to match what the current size local variable is, okay? So once again, I know this part seems confusing, but let me kind of go through it step by step really quick. Okay, so it all starts up here. The asteroid hits the bullet. Bullet gets destroyed. Pretty basic there. When the asteroid hits the bullet, it stores, oh, so let's just say it's an asteroid that's UID is 4 and its angle is 125. So you shoot the asteroid. UID becomes 4, angle becomes 125. Okay? The asteroid size starts at 1, so this is true, it's less than 2.5. Takes current size and adds 0.5 to that. So now current size is 1.5, okay? Then it's going to repeat this twice. It's going to create 2 asteroids at asteroid X, asteroid Y, so it's going to create 2 of them at the X and Y coordinate. It's going to set the angle of motion, and it's going to take the current angle of motion, which I believe I said was 125. Then it's going to add a random number to it, and then maybe find the remainder, and then make it that random angle. Okay. The speed is going to be random, and the rotate speed is random, just like the original asteroids. Then it's going to take the size of the asteroid, the physical size. It's going to become 96 divided by current size, which is 1.5. So 96 divided by 1.5 is going to become the new size of it, okay? Then it's going to take the size instance variable, which was 1, change it to current size, which is 1.5. Okay, so now those new asteroids are going to be smaller, and their size variable is going to be 1.5. So let's say I shoot a smaller one now. So you shoot a smaller one, the size is 1.5, which still fits into this. This whole thing repeats, it all happens again, it shrinks again. Then those littler asteroid size becomes 2. So then this will still trigger again and it gets smaller. It's going to keep doing that till the size value is not less than or equal to 2.5. So as soon as that size becomes 3, then this will no longer trigger. And then finally, we're going to make a different statement down here that'll finally destroy it for good, which I think is what we're about to get to. So let's just see here, set size. We're going to add 2 more new actions down here, though. Yes. So we're going to add an action down here at the bottom. And we're going to do asteroid. And we're going to do set angle of motion. And then we're going to do asteroid dot bullet dot angle of motion, and that should be good. All right, so we're going to do that there. And then we're going to do asteroid move forward by 5 feet. Okay, so then we're going to do another one here. We're going to do asteroid, and then we're going to do move forward. And we're going to move forward a random number of pixels. So what we're going to do is we're just going to type in the word random, do a parentheses, and we're just going to do 5, 15. Okay. So basically this bottom one is that when the new asteroid pops out, they kind of jump out away from the old one. They're not just all in the exact same spot and then slowly move out. This makes it so every asteroid will move forward just a random amount of 5 to 15 pixels. And then this quick little randomized angle here is going to make it so they shoot out at different angles before it does that. Okay. So once you do that, this part here should be good. Okay. Now what we're going to do is this whole situation here, this repeat 2 times, this whole chunk is just spawning baby asteroids out of the big one, right? So now we need a situation what if the asteroid size variable is too large and the asteroid's ready to be destroyed? So what I want you to do is highlight the size less than 2.5, put your cursor right here where mine is. You're going to right click this spot here, and we're going to do something called add else. And that else is going to go right down here. So basically what that means, and else means if any other situation occurs that isn't the first one. So basically if size is not less than 2.5, this else is going to trigger. Okay. And all we're going to do is we're going to add an action here for asteroid, and we're going to destroy it. Okay. So that's going to destroy the little baby asteroid. Okay. Then what we have to do is we have to do another sub event. This one's going to be a sub-event on the asteroid 2.5. So find the asteroid 2.5, and just before you move on, make sure that this else is even with this. So if you click this little black arrow, you can minimize events with sub-events. You can see the else is even with the 2.5 like this, and I can open it back up and I can see the sub-events in here. So on the size less than 2.5, right-click here where my cursor is. We're going to add another sub-event this time. Okay. And we're going to do something called system, and it's going to be pick all. We're going to pick all asteroids. And I'm going to kind of just get these events in, and then I can kind of explain it when we're done here. Okay, so we're going to do pick all asteroid. And we want to know that the current UID is not 0. So I'm going to add another condition. So then we're going to do system, compare variable, current UID does not equal 0. Okay. And then here we're going to add an asteroid destroy, but I could just copy this one up from here. Okay. Oh, and then I need one more. Sorry, I need one more condition on this. So go back to this pick all asteroid current UID. Right click, add one more condition to this. And we want to do asteroid. And then we want to type in pick. And we want to do pick by UID. And we want to do current UID. Okay. All right, so let me explain what this does. So basically here we're shooting the asteroids. If it's a bigger asteroid, that's what this size part means here. It does this repeat part and spawns the little asteroids, right? Then this else out here is if we shoot an asteroid from the beginning that's too small to spawn more, it just will destroy the asteroid. The reason why we need this extra destroy asteroid, this is the one that destroys the bigger one that spawns the littler ones. So what happens is I shoot an asteroid that's big. Here's where we have to use the UIDs, because if we don't use the UIDs here, it's going to destroy every asteroid on the screen. So what we do is we shoot a big asteroid. We're telling it to pick an asteroid whose UID is not 0, which is going to be any asteroid. And we have to pick it with the UID current UID. So if we go back from the beginning, right, I shoot the asteroid. Let's say its UID is 4. It sets current UID to 4. Then down here, it's going to pick the one with UID 4 and only destroy that one. So that's why we need to have that piece there. All right, guys, so this is going to be the end of section 4. I know it was probably the most confusing. It definitely is like the most difficult code you've probably had so far. But as long as you kind of get the base understanding of what we're doing, even if you don't understand every little bit of the code, I think you're okay. All right, so that'll be it for section 4.